and welcome again to some more Let's Grow shopping. Yeah, Galaxy Garden update. We will have a look at that in a minute. The weather this fortnight, I mean, usually I've got something to say about the weather every fortnight. This fortnight has been as crazy as ever. We've had over 200 mils of rain in the last 2 weeks. There's been floods up north. On one of the days here we had 100 mil just in one 24-hour period. A lot of people ask me how my garden goes in the heavy rain, and to be honest, it's not that bad. Living where we live, we're on top of a ridge, and all my garden is pretty much, all of our garden is pretty much terraced, so every bed is very well draining. I've made my own soil. We don't have much clay. It's kind of a warm fuzzy feeling to know that your soil is absolutely soaked wet through, for a change, because usually I'm trying to keep up with it, trying to keep it wet. Despite all the organic matter I put in our soil, it's still sandy and well draining, so in summer I can't get enough water into it. So it's great occasionally to have it soaked wet through. Another thing that helps with the torrential rain is just growing your veggies and your trees on mounds. So you can see there the paths in the middle here, and 2 mounds that I grow the veggies on. And so that's getting the surface roots of the veggies out of any, I could get quite a big puddle in the middle here in the path, but it's still not going to affect the surface roots of the veggies that are on the mound. And that's exactly the same with fruit trees as well. Particularly if you're living in any clay area, get your fruit trees on mounds. We've been harvesting lettuce, peas, potatoes, spinach, beetroot, pumpkins, basil. We're right on the last of the basil. The beans have completely finished, so I've took a load of seed off, a load of the old pods off them and saving them for seed for next year. And also saving seed from things like marigolds. The marigolds are on their way out, and really easy plant to grow. I just save as many seeds as I can and spray them all over the garden, and where they come up, they come up. And as always, I'm thinking about the future and how we're going to manage the garden going forward. And you've heard me say a lot about my complete failure with brassicas, and so I've come up with another solution, which is to grow brassicas in pots from now on. Instead of using up real estate in my garden beds, which I could be doing something more productive with, I'm going to see if I can grow brassicas in large pots. That way I can control what's going on a bit better, I can net them a bit easier, get rid of the pests that are eating them, like aphids and cabbage whites, and see if I can actually grow something to eat. Once I know that, I can work out, do I really want to do this back in the garden beds, or are the pots good enough? Or work out a path forward from there. It might even be too hard in a pot, and then I've had enough. I'm not going to do brassicas anymore, I'll do other things. I want to make room for things like yacon and Jerusalem artichokes that I know will grow pretty well, and they don't get eaten too much by pests, and I get a reliable harvest out of them. Just getting stuck into digging up the potatoes in Mars. Again, these plants weren't amazing, but that's not a bad yield for that much garden so far. See if I can give you an idea of what's going on. There you go, and these are the potatoes I planted just on the surface. I didn't bury them like the previous potatoes I've been doing. And so we've got quite a few. They're mostly new potato sized, but that's good with me. Any potatoes are good potatoes. And the soil is chock full of these guys and looking fantastic. So after pulling all the spuds out of Mars and dressing up the bed with compost and planting some carrots, we have got probably about 2 weeks worth of spuds. And I got these out of Jupiter. About time we had some beetroot out of there, but not a bad haul. remembering to take some footage of this week. This tray's pretty good. We've got some decent beetroot, some Bloomsdale spinach, no onions again at all. Radicchios popped, no chives at all. We've got rocket, we've got a bit of kale. Kale is super slow out of the blocks. The telephone peas not too bad. There's one or two looking a bit small, but good enough for me. Spring onions are looking alright. Tatsoi is looking great as well, so we'll see if we can get that growing. What are these sweet peas? Sugar snap peas, that's what they are. The back four have shot, these two are tiny, and the front two here have not done anything. And then next up we've got mustard, which is sprouted pretty well, and then lettuce, which is always giving me the goods at the moment. I'll quickly zip through the beds. I took out some silver beet and some basil out of wicking bed 1. I put some beetroot in. This endive's looking okay. I've had to get rid of most of the endive because it's just been absolutely hammered by tiny slugs, like as mentioned last week. That's extended to nearly all the endive apart from this one, I think it is. That's the only one left. Got some, what was that? That was radicchio, the row of radicchio. And then spinach that I put in last time. It's working alright. In wicking bed 2, the garlic's looking lovely. Spinach from this time, a row of lettuce from last time, and one silver beet that's still looking okay. Most of the silver beet in the garden is looking fairly ropey as well. I've been feeding that the rabbits and the chickens. Wicking bed 3, I have to sort of back up to get it in properly. Looking great. Rocket, I think this is kale. Now I thought it was a cabbage earlier on, but now I'm looking more like kale. This is a cabbage, a red cabbage, and carrots in the middle, and then the kohlrabis are starting to look like kohlrabis. So we'll be harvesting them fairly shortly. Number 4, all the carrots again. More carrots coming up here, just tiny at the moment. A row of leeks and some silver beet and the last basil, which is looking still pretty great. Wicking bed 5 again, having to pan out a bit if I can. Got a wall behind me. Mustard, rocket, lettuce. I've left this bit blank. I was kind of thinking I might plant some carrots in there, but I could leave it open for now. 6 is still the spinach, still going great, still harvesting it. Some more leeks, a row of lettuce, and more leeks. And wicking bed 8, rocket, beetroot, lettuce, and silver beet. Sorry, that's 7. Did I say 8? Can't remember. And this is wicking bed 8, which is spinach, silver beet, and there's some kale at the end there. Most of that kale has been eaten. There's 2 or 3 plants left, I think there is. And I've put tatsoi in the middle, and I hope that survives the slugs as well. Definitely, I still haven't been getting out at night this season and picking slugs off, but I'm really seeing the effects of slugs, and so I need to get out here more often, I think. Well, I need to start getting out here all the time. Just something about wicking bed 2, I put a row of coriander in here last time, and if I'm being honest, I never saw it. Probably the day or 2 days after I planted it, it had completely disappeared. So yeah, on that slug factor, something is eating some seedlings. Out in the galaxy, I took the potatoes out of Mercury, made it look all pretty, put a row of lettuce in the side. I've put some parsnip seeds on top of the freshly raked bed, and then top dressed it with black gold, so my own compost. Venus is looking great with lettuce. We still can't eat it quick enough. I've actually chopped, I think it was 4 lettuce that have gone to seed. These are my most mature lettuce. They need eating yesterday. A bit of garlic in the front here. Pak choy, the best pak choy I've ever grown. I've harvested one of them. I'm going to have to harvest them shortly. They're getting chewed, but still edible. And we're getting some half decent cabbages for the first time in a year of trying to plant them. So hopefully these work. It's an absolutely glorious morning. It's actually quite hard to get some decent film without shadows. The asparagus here is really dying back, so you just let that completely die back so that all the energy from the green up top goes back down into the combs and roots for next year's crop. And I've just got a star picket in there so that when it's completely died back, I know where it is exactly. And it also helps these fronds, when they get real tall, it rains and they lean over, and so I tie it all back to that star picket so that I can keep it in one place. We've harvested all the spuds out of Mars, and again I've done like I did in Mercury. I've planted carrot seeds in the top of this freshly raked bed, beautiful soil, and then top dressed it again with compost. So hopefully we get a decent amount of carrots out of there as well. Jupiter's looking lovely. Row of carrots down the middle. You can obviously see which ones were the earlier ones and the later ones. Spring onions down this side, and beetroot down this side. And I've harvested a few of those beetroot finally. They've been a long time coming. And I'm getting lettuce self-seeding out of the compost as well, which is lovely. So that's filling in some of the gaps. In Saturn, we've got a bit of kale at the front here. I planted some rocket right in the front here. And then we've got the cauliflowers and the broccoli. And the cauliflowers have really sort of come on this last week. So we've had all that rain, and then it's been 3 days of glorious sun. And things have started coming on, and we've even got what looks like a tiny broccoli head. So I'll be harvesting that fairly shortly, otherwise it'll go to seed and I won't get anything. Also in Saturn, when I took out some of the broccolis, I planted sugar snap peas, and they're coming on alright as well. So they're halfway up this bottom trellis, and I've planted a few more from this week's plantings in the south end of the bed. So yes, hopefully we'll get vertical growing going on in there above all the cabbages and cauliflowers and broccoli and silver beet. Uranus, the garlic is looking fantastic, and after having a slow start, so the wild jack down this end always set off really well. The Spanish Roger wasn't doing too fantastic, or was a lot slower out the blocks, but now it's looking really good. So yeah, looking forward to seeing if all that works as it should. November's the time to harvest garlic, so still got a long while yet. And in Neptune we have some great daikon radish. I've harvested one of them, and I'm trying to see if I can kraut it with some carrot. So do sauerkraut, ferment it. As I said last time, I'm trying to find out ways to get it in our diet. And peas, we've been harvesting quite a few peas. Again, a lot of rain, and then the sun, peas are coming out of the woodwork, which is lovely. Up in the shade house, I'm trying a few experiments. So the onions and the chives aren't doing too well in the greenhouse. I'm assuming they might need a little bit more cold weather, so I've put them in the shade house, just out in the open, to see if they'll germinate, being colder out here. And in the greenhouse, this is the new seed tray. I've left, there was 3 or 4 sugar snap peas that didn't really germinate too quickly. They're sort of just poking out, so I've left them for another fortnight or another week or so. and the kale hadn't really got going, so I've left that for another fortnight, and then hopefully the rest looks pretty good. So yeah, again, I've planted a load of broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage. I'm going to try them in these pots. So huge pot. I've got heaps of potting mix and compost. So hopefully they will love it in there, and I can get a net over them very easily. Could even put them in the greenhouse to stop things eating them. In other news, we have quite a lot of lemons. I'm doing this from underneath the net. I've netted 2 trees at the same time. And then our orange tree is going crazy. I'm pretty sure this is a Washington. It's either a Washington or a Valencia, but I'm pretty sure it's Washington. But yeah, got the net on to make sure the cockies don't take any away. I noticed a load of cockies on the fence one day, so the nets came out. And after a break of a while, we've got pigeon peas coming back again. The pigeon peas don't really like the cold, and they don't like it a lot wet. Most of mine died off a couple of years ago when it rained about a metre in a month. They all sort of withered and died, but I'm starting to get them back again. They have great little flowers like this, like eggs and bacon kind of flowers, yellow and red, and they're also nitrogen fixers, so you can chop them and drop them and they'll help condition your soil. And they produce these peas, which, if you can hear the rattle on that, that's a bit of a sign that they're kind of ready. So you can crack them open if it's dry enough. There we go. And they're the peas, and they're like lentils. They're lentil kind of peas. And so we have actually gone to the trouble of harvesting these and making dal out of them. And yeah, it works a treat. I'm dropping them all over the place, so apologies for that. But yes, you get about, what, I don't know, 5 or 6 in each pod. It takes a while to get enough for a meal, but growing your own pulses is a good thing. And that's about all for today, thank you. Yeah, garden's looking a lot tidier now. I'm feeling on top of it at last. Nights are getting really cold. I'm hoping this blue skies, crispy weather stays with us so that we can have some fires outside. It's pretty glorious in the garden at the moment. I quite enjoy this time of year. I will see you in a fortnight. Thank you for watching.